Hey everybody, welcome back to Zero Proof Home Bar. I'm working on a bunch more product reviews, but I learned a lot in doing these first four, so I thought I would revisit these side by side, add a few more elements to the tasting process that I'm hoping to use moving forward in my future reviews and see what new dimensions come out. So one of the first things that I wanted to talk about more consistently is how many calories are in each of these. These products vary quite a bit in how much additional sugar they have, whether they use artificial sweeteners or not. That's a big one for me. I'm a little bit more sensitive to things like stevia or aspartame and the kind of the flavors and especially the aftertaste that those have. And so even if something doesn't have calories in it, because it's using artificial sweetener, sometimes the aftertaste is a little unpleasant for me. So when I can find those ingredients, I will call them out, but I'll definitely start by just talking about the calories. I also wanted to try each of these products with Tonic, which is kind of the recommended serve for a lot of these non-alcoholic spirit replacement products. I was doing these kind of daiquiri sour template cocktails, and that works for some products, but not for all. So I kind of wanted to go a little bit more kind of neutral and see if I could highlight some of the flavors a little bit more in each of these products. So let's dig into it. First of all, we've got the Pentire. It is 0 calories. I know that I got a lot of sage notes before. It also has something called rock samphire in it. So I'm gonna see what it tastes like on its own. Just see if there's anything new that comes out. Yeah, I get a lot of that culinary sage note. One thing I wanted to highlight too, as I'm going through these, is whether they kind of fall on the more tart or sweet side of things or more dry, even if they don't have any tartness or sweetness. Most of them have some kind of an acid in them for just a preservative, if nothing else. And so a lot of times they'll have a little bit of a tartness. So this lands much more on the kind of dry side of things, a little bit tart, a little bit of, I've mentioned before, like salinity, almost like a little bit of saltiness, almost like an oceany quality. And a little bit of bitter kind of herb undertone, definitely coming from that sage flavor. Kind of reminds me of like if you made like a sage tea. So not getting a lot more herb element, different notes from that, but it's definitely an interesting product that, again, if you like culinary sage flavors, at least it's worth checking out. This one is the Aplos, and this particular bottle is an older bottle. They have a newer product, and so they rebranded this to the Calme, C-A-L-M-E, and they also have the Arise now, which I'm looking forward to getting. This is a hemp-infused spirit, and it's got 15 calories. I had some friends over recently and they tried this, and this is not a flavor note that has come through for me, but after telling them that it was hemp infused, they said they kind of got like a note of like a hemp necklace, which is not a great tasting note in my opinion. They said kind of not in a bad way. I didn't really get that flavor from it. I'm familiar with hemp kind of like green vegetal kind of flavors is the way I tend to typically think of that. And I don't really get so much of that from this. It's a lot more of the kind of bright citrus. Well, let's see, I'll taste it again. Yeah, so this is another one that's on the kind of drier side. Oh, 15 calories in this one. And these are for similar 2-ounce servings. So 15 calories here on the dry side, tart, and with a good amount of that underlying kind of bitter finish, particularly on the end of the flavor, and kind of lingering a little bit. Herbal kind of bitterness, but also a little bit of a citrusy, kind of citrus oils or citrus pith kind of bitterness. And then I get this kind of interesting sweet note that I've mentioned before, kind of a little bit fruity, a little bit kind of melony to me. And then just kind of some miscellaneous herbs, a little bit of cucumber maybe. That one's one of my favorites, definitely an interesting product. The Caleno Light and Zesty. This is a smaller serving size than these guys. This is a 2-ounce. This is a 1.7 fluid ounce serving, 20 calories. So definitely a little bit more caloric, especially versus the 0 in the Pentire Adrift. Now, you can see I've used quite a bit of this. This is one I've been playing with a lot, and I'll have a cocktail recipe to share with you pretty soon. But in the meantime, let's just try it on its own. Lots of fruity notes like I got before. Pineapple, maybe some mango. Yeah, so as I mentioned before, this falls much more on the sweet tart side of things. You definitely have a decent amount of sweetness, but also a good amount of tart, slightly sour, bit of acidity going on, which balances it pretty nicely. All right, last one is the Caleno Dark and Spicy. Again, the 1.7 fluid ounce serving size, and it's 22 calories. So just slightly more than this one, which is interesting though. Add a little bit more sugar. I'm assuming this one probably has been my least favorite of the 4 that I tasted so far. And I'll link to the more in-depth tasting notes on all of these in their separate videos, but I'll just see real quickly when I get here. Yeah, so a lot of that coconut on the nose, and you know, immediately when you taste it, those kind of overpowering aromatic coconut notes, a little bit, I don't know, suntan lotiony, as I said before. It's the quality of that aromatics that kind of somehow is missing these other more, for lack of a better word, kind of grounded coconut notes that makes me kind of have this artificial coconut flavor impression. I don't know if it is or not, could be natural flavors, but it just kind of reads as artificial to me and just not my favorite. You do get these other kind of interesting fruity notes, a little bit different than this, and a little bit of herbal complexity in there. But overall, it's a little more on the sweet side for me, and a lot of that kind of floral coconut note going on. All right, so let's try them now with some tonic. If I were doing like a gin and tonic, I would often do like a 3-to-1 or even a 4-to-1 tonic to gin ratio. Here, I'm going to use a 2-to-1 tonic to the spirit ratio to really maintain a lot of the flavor of the product. I don't want to lose that, and a lot of these, in my experience, tend to get a little bit lost with mixers. So just want to be a little bit cautious there. So let's get started here. Go in the same order. It's 1 ounce of the Pentire Adrift and 2 ounces of tonic. I'm using Fever Tree here, one of my favorite tonics. Sometimes I use Q. Tried a few others. Fever Tree is kind of my favorite of the most widely available ones. There's some other kind of fancier ones that you can find occasionally, but Fever Tree is available almost everywhere, and it's really good. All right, let's see. Yeah, it's nice. Definitely get a lot of that sage. The bitterness is enhanced with the tonic kind of quinine bitterness, but it's not overpowering at all. It's very refreshing and kind of pleasant. Yeah, that's definitely enjoyable. I like that. All right, let's try it with the Aplos here. And again, remembering this is the Calme, C-A-L-M-E product. I'm going to try their new product as soon as I can. But I think that one, I'm not sure if that one has hemp in it. So again, 1 ounce, and give it a little stir. I'm hoping to bring you a lot more interesting cocktail recipes with more ingredients going on and whatnot, not getting too complex, but this is a good place to start. So. Oh. Okay, so this is good. It's a lot more bitterness on the finish. Yeah, I feel like this brings out the kind of citrus pithy bitterness a little bit more than I'd like in the Aplos. It definitely brings out a lot of the other notes as well, and kind of adds some interesting body and dimension to them. You know, the fizziness and the tonic bitterness, but I just feel like the additional bitterness of the tonic kind of adds a little bit too much bitterness along with the underlying kind of citrus pith and herbal bitterness of this. If you like a bitter drink, like a Q tonic, for example, is a more bitter tonic. If you like that, this one, you know, is actually pretty good. To me, I never got the hemp Nicholas note before, but this almost leans it a little bit more in that direction for me. It even does bring out a little bit more of the vegetal quality, perhaps. So, not so much my thing, but I love mixing this into cocktails and whatnot. So, let's see here. All right, I'm almost out of this. Hopefully I have 2 ounces or 1 ounce to play with. Just perfect. All right, there we go. Our last ounce. That's nice. Yeah. So on its own, you know, sweet and tart. You add that bitterness in, definitely gets closer to kind of an impression of a proper cocktail because it has all of your dimensions working there, except for the spirit element, obviously. you're missing that, alcohol burn and aromatizing. But you got a nice balance of sweet, tart, and bitter here. That effervescence is really pleasant. So I think it does a nice job of tempering a little bit of the sweetness and adding a dimension of complexity, and really just highlights this. So of the three so far, I would say this probably works out the best with Tonic, quite honestly. Yeah, that's really nice. I mean, if you like the sage flavor quite a lot, then the Pentire would also be a great one, but that's not for everyone. This, I think, almost anyone would probably enjoy. All right, the last, my least favorite, but I will also say that their recommended serve with this is ginger beer, which I may try, but I did want to try it with Tonic just to see how that goes, since all the rest of them are with Tonic. So let's see. All right. All that coconut coming through on the nose. Yeah. It's fine. Not bad. Yeah, on the finish, though, I'm getting that coconut again. And it's fairly sweet still, I would say. Of the four of them, it's definitely the sweetest. And in kind of an obvious way, you get a little bit of the Tonic bitterness still for sure. And again, same ratio. So maybe if I up this to 3-to-1, it would mellow this out a little bit more appropriately and give it a little bit more of that bitterness. I would say like with a 3-to-1 and a squeeze of lime or something, this might be pretty good. But again, you have to kind of be fine with that aromatic coconut note that might read as artificial coconut to some palates. So yeah, so there you go. Comparing all four of these products side by side, I don't think my opinions about them particularly changed. I was pleasantly surprised by how well this works with Tonic. And this is one of my favorite new-to-me products. Some of these others I've been playing with for a while. This one I got and obviously went through pretty quickly since I started to review it a few weeks ago. So I definitely recommend the Caleno Light and Zesty. The Pentire Adrift, if you like sage, it's great. It's very pleasant just with a simple serve over Tonic. The Aplos I love, but I feel like it's a little bit more of a reserved recommendation potentially because it's a little bit more intense in this simple of a serve. But if you're willing to make a cocktail with it, if you're willing to add a few more ingredients, make like a simple sour daiquiri style or something like that, then I think it holds up really well and also works really well to build more complex cocktails with. So I'd recommend it if you're interested in experimenting and using it as an ingredient in other things. So there's a comparison. Thanks for coming along on the journey with me, and I will have some new reviews for you soon, along with recipes and some other info on the non-alcoholic spirits market. I hope you are finding delicious things to drink, and I will see you all next time. Thanks for joining me.